Okay, I have to admit something right off the bat. When I sat down to read the source material for this deep dive and saw the central concept was the inner child, my immediate reflex was, well, skepticism.
Mm,
The phrase just has so much baggage, doesn't it?
it really does.
It sounds soft. It sounds like therapy speak. It feels like I'm being asked to, close my eyes, imagine a meadow, and hug a teddy bear.
That is a completely rational reaction. It's actually one of the biggest hurdles in this field.
Right.
The term inner child has entered the pop culture lexicon so thoroughly that it's lost its gravity.
Right.
We tend to think of it as sentimental, something you engage with if you have too much free time.
Exactly. Sentimental. But the reason we're here today, and the reason I ended up reading this material twice, is that it completely flips that script.
It does.
The text we're unpacking argues that the inner child isn't a metaphor at all. It's not poetry.
No, it's a literal description of the body's hardware.
Right. And that distinction, hardware versus software, is where this gets so fascinating for me.
It's biology, not just psychology.
The source uses this incredible phrase, children are not incomplete adults. They are humans before armor.
Humans before armor.
Yeah.
That really sets the tone for our mission today, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We aren't looking at childhood as a waiting room for adulthood. We're exploring the neuroscience, suggesting that your childhood nervous system patterns, the ways you learned to survive before you had logic, are still running the show.
So they're just operating underneath all the sophisticated strategies you've built on top?
Perfect.
Which suggests that we are all children on the inside, not because we're mature, but because that primary operating system, it never actually retires. It just adapts.
Exactly.
So let's get a bit technical for a second, just to ground this. If the inner child isn't a metaphor, what is it?
If we look at the breakdown in the text, the inner child is the part of the psyche that houses early emotional learning. This is where your attachment patterns live. It's the seat of your curiosity, your play impulse, your fear response, and your capacity for wonder. But scientifically, think of it as the limbic system and the lower brain functions that develop before your prefrontal cortex. The adult logic centrally came online.
So it's the foundation, the basement level of the skyscraper.
Precisely. It is the original operating system, and the source makes a very important distinction about how this system processes data compared to our adult selves. Children experience the world directly.
The text says they feel before they explain and respond before they rationalize. That feels so true.
It is.
I mean, you think about a toddler. They don't sit there and analyze why they're frustrated. They just flop on the floor. It's immediate.
It is immediate and is honest. As adults, we are obsessed with the why. If you feel sad, you immediately analyze, why am I sad? Is it reasonable to be sad? How do I fix this?
Yeah, how do I fix it?
A child or the inner child system doesn't do that. It just experiences the sensation of sadness. It is immediate somatic data.
And the argument here is that we don't swap out that system when we turn 18. We don't get a hardware upgrade that deletes the old files.
No, we don't. We just install new software on top of it.
Yeah.
We layer on interpretation, social strategy, and defense mechanisms, but that original direct experience machinery is still humming along underneath.
This is the layering effect the author describes. So underneath my ability to sit in a boardroom and write a polite, slightly passive-aggressive email when I'm angry, there is a biological part of me that wants to flop on the floor and scream.
Biologically, yes. The regulatory impulse, that urge to discharge that energy, is still there. The adult layer just intercepts it. But here is the key takeaway from this first section. The text emphasizes that this internal system is primary, not immature.
That is a huge reframe.
It is.
Because usually when we act emotionally or we have a sudden outburst, we shame ourselves for being immature. We think we've regressed.
Right. But the source is arguing, no, that's just your primary system firing. It serves as the foundation for how you process safety and danger.
So if you treat it as something to be grown out of, you're fighting your own biology.
You're fighting yourself. And if the foundation is cracked, it doesn't matter how pretty the penthouse is. The whole structure is compromised.
Exactly. If the primary system feels unsafe, the adult personality, the house built on top, is going to have structural instability.
Which leads us directly to the aha moment of this deep dive for me.
Oh, this part, yeah.
It's about how safety, or the lack of it, shapes our personality. The source claims that things we consider to be our personality traits might actually just be armor.
This is where the neuroscience angle really comes in. The text states that children are biologically wired to seek connection. It's not a preference, it's a survival mandate.
Right. A mammal that cannot connect to a caregiver creates a massive stress response.
For a kid, isolation equals death. The stakes are that high.
Correct. And crucially, the source says safety is learned through responsiveness, not instruction. You cannot explain to a nervous system that it is safe.
You have to show it.
You have to show it.
You can't just tell a toddler everything is fine while you're ignoring their crying. Their body records the ignoring, not the words.
Exactly. The nervous system is a pattern recognition machine, and the source breaks down these specific adaptation algorithms. Basically, if the environment provides X, the nervous system learns to output Y. It outlines three main scenarios that shape us.
Okay, let's walk through these slowly, because I have a feeling a lot of us are going to see ourselves or people we know in these algorithms.
I think so.
The first scenario is when safety is inconsistent.
Right. This is the sometimes scenario. Sometimes the caregiver is warm and present. Sometimes they're absent, angry, or chaotic. It's unpredictable.
So what does the child learn?
When safety is inconsistent, the inner child learns vigilance.
Vigilance. So always scanning the room, trying to predict the mood, walking on eggshells.
Yes, that child becomes an expert at reading micro-expressions. If I don't know which version of mom or dad is walking through the door, I need to be able to read the air pressure in the room instantly.
And fast forward 20 or 30 years, what does that look like in an adult?
It looks like high-functioning anxiety. It looks like the employee who knows the boss is in a bad mood before the boss even speaks. It looks like being overly sensitive to shifts in a partner's energy.
We often call that empathy or being intuitive.
But the source argues it's often just high-definition threat detection.
Wow.
Yeah.
That distinction between empathy and threat detection is uncomfortable, but it makes sense.
It really does.
Okay, scenario B. What happens when safety is absent?
When safety is consistently absent, meaning emotional needs are met with rejection or indifference, the inner child learns self-reliance too early.
Oh, this is the I don't need anyone, I'll do it myself response.
Hyper-independence.
Yeah.
The logic of the nervous system is calling for help brings pain or nothing at all. Therefore, I will stop calling for help. You suppress the need for connection because the need itself has become dangerous.
So the kid stops crying not because they're good, but because they've given up on an answer.
Precisely. And they carry that into adulthood as, I can handle it. I don't need support. I'm the strong one.
And then hopefully, scenario C, when safety is present.
When safety is present and consistent, the inner child learns trust. Trust in themselves to have needs and trust in the world to meet them.
But for many of us, we're operating on those first two algorithms. And this is where the armor concept comes in. The source argues that things like perfectionism, control, avoidance, or numbness, these aren't just personality quirks.
They are protective strategies. They are a mechanism designed to compensate for an unsupported inner child.
Right.
Think about control. If you grew up in an environment that felt chaotic or unsafe, maybe that inconsistent safety scenario controlling your environment as an adult isn't about being bossy.
No.
It's about trying to manufacture the safety you didn't have.
That is so relatable. Realizing that being a control freak might actually be an old safety mechanism rather than a caregiver flaw, that takes a lot of the shame out of it.
It does. It shifts the perspective from what is wrong with me to how did I learn to protect myself? If I control the details, nothing bad can sneak up on me.
And the source mentions perfectionism too. If you only felt safe when you were good or impressive, then perfectionism becomes your shield.
It keeps you safe from criticism or rejection, but the cost is high because you are constantly maintaining this heavy armor. It takes immense energy to be perfect or vigilant 24/7.
It's exhausting.
And the source makes a profound point here. The inner child proves we are all children because emotional needs do not age out.
I think that is the sentence I highlighted 3 times. Emotional needs do not age out. We have this cultural myth that once you turn 18 or maybe 25, you're supposed to stop needing certain things. You're supposed to be independent.
We confuse independence with isolation sometimes. We think that needing reassurance is needy. But the text argues that these needs just get quieter or louder depending on whether they are met. They don't vanish.
The source actually gives a list of these adult needs. I want to read them because they seem so basic, yet so many of us deny them.
Please do.
Adults still need reassurance, permission to rest, validation of feeling, safe play, and secure attachment.
Which one of those stands out to you?
Permission to rest, definitely. I feel like as an adult, I have to earn rest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can only rest if I've completed the to-do list, but a child rests when they're tired.
That's the honest regulator concept the text mentions. Children are honest
Oh,
regulators.
honest regulator.
They cry when they're overwhelmed. They laugh when they are safe. They sleep when they are tired. They don't bargain with their body's signals.
And we do. We drink another coffee. We swallow the tears because we're at work. We doom scroll instead of sleeping because we want to reclaim our time.
Exactly. We dissociate from the signal. And the text says that needing these things, reassurance, rest, connection, does not indicate weakness. It indicates humanity.
Just that we're biological organisms.
Right. We require co-regulation and safety.
So, if we deny these needs, if we keep wearing the armor and ignoring the little guy inside, what happens? Because the source suggests the system doesn't just shut up.
No, it does the opposite. It escalates.
Escalates.
The inner child is responsible for signaling needs.
Yeah.
That's its job. I'm scared, I'm tired, I'm lonely. If the adult self ignores those signals, the inner child has to scream louder to be heard.
And that scream looks like, what?
Anxiety, depression, rage, and specifically burnout. The text explicitly links these modern mental health crises to unmet child-level needs.
Wow, so burnout isn't just, I work too many hours. It might be the inner system saying, I have been signaling for rest for 3 years and you haven't listened, so I am pulling the emergency brake.
That is a perfect analogy. Burnout is the somatic emergency brake. It's the system saying, if you won't stop, I will make you stop. It shuts down the motivation centers. It shuts down the energy.
This clarifies the responsibility split the source talks about. The inner child signals, the adult responds.
Yes. This is crucial because sometimes people worry that connecting with the inner child means letting a 4-year-old run their life.
Right.
The inner child is not responsible for adult decisions. We shouldn't let the terrified child inside us drive the car. That's how you get road rage or panic attacks. But the adult must listen to the passenger.
I love that image. The kid is in the passenger seat holding the map saying, I need a bathroom break, and the adult is driving. If you ignore the passenger, they're going to start kicking the dashboard.
Or grabbing the wheel.
Right, grabbing the wheel. So how do we fix this? The source pivots here from managing to caring. It says children are not meant to be managed internally. They are meant to be cared for.
This is a critical shift in language. Managing implies control. It implies suppression. I need to manage my anxiety. I need to manage my anger.
It treats the inner child like a problem employee you're trying to not get fired.
A liability, exactly. But caring changes the dynamic. It implies relationship. The text outlines what integration or healing actually looks like. The adult self must provide what was missing in childhood.
Which is what?
Consistency, protection, boundaries, and patience.
Consistency seems to be the big one. If you grew up with inconsistent safety, being consistent with yourself now must be huge.
It is.
Like promising yourself you'll go to bed at a certain time and actually doing it.
Yes, that's trust building. If you tell yourself, we are going to rest tonight, and then you stay up until 2 a.m. working, you have broken trust with your inner system. You've proven to your inner child that the parent, which is you, is unreliable.
That hits home. So integration is about becoming the reliable parent to yourself that maybe you didn't have.
Or just reinforcing the safety you need now. And the source is very clear. This is not regression. Some people, especially high performers, worry that if they indulge their inner child, they'll become childish. They'll lose their edge.
They think they'll stop working and just play with Lego all day.
Right. The fear that the armor is the only thing making us successful.
Yeah.
But the text calls it completion, not regression. It's structural repair. When the foundation is fixed, the whole house is more stable. You don't lose your edge, you lose the drag.
Lose the drag. I like that. That resonates.
Think about the energy it takes to maintain armor. It is exhausting to be vigilant all the time. It's exhausting to be perfect. If you can put the armor down because the inner system feels safe, all that liberated energy can go somewhere else.
It goes into creativity, it goes into play, it goes into actually enjoying your life instead of just surviving it.
That's the promise of this work. It's not just about healing old wounds. It's about unlocking the capacity to be fully alive right now. You cannot be truly creative if your nervous system is stuck in survival mode.
I really like how the source frames this as structural repair. It makes it sound so practical. It's not magic, it's renovation.
Yeah, it is. And as we wrap up, it's worth noting the final point the source makes about empathy. When we listen to our own inner child, our empathy for others increases.
Because when we see someone else acting out, maybe being controlling or defensive, We don't just see a jerk, we see their armor.
We see the frightened child underneath the armor. And that changes how we relate to everyone. We become less reactive. We become kinder.
The text ends with this simple truth. We grow up, but we do not grow out of being children. We carry them with us.
It's a beautiful sentiment, and based on what we've discussed, it's a biological reality. You are a multiplicity. You are the child and the adult simultaneously.
So here is where we leave you today. We want to challenge you to look at your own armor. Maybe it's perfectionism, maybe it's constant busyness, maybe it's a need to always be right.
And ask yourself the investigative question. If this armor is a strategy, what is it protecting?
And what would happen if, just for today, you stopped polishing the armor and checked on the thing underneath it? What specific need is that inner system trying to protect right now? And what would happen if you just met that need directly?
Maybe you just need a nap. Or a hug. Or play.
Whatever it is, listening to it might just be the most adult thing you can do. Thanks for diving in with us.
Take care.